Started it in 2003. It took me 5 years to write it. I knew from the beginning it's going to be a long book and a long process of writing, because I felt I want to encompass as much as possible of the Israeli reality. But what was more intriguing to me even was to show how this reality affects the small cell of one family, and how the outer violence and tension, how it radiates itself into the intimacy of the relationship in a family. I didn't want to write only either or, only about the situation or about the family. I tried to merge the two. I very much wanted to write a book about relationship of brothers, but unlike what we are used to read in literature since the days of Cain and Abel, I wanted to write about brothers that are very loyal to each other and love each other and in a way complete each other. And I wanted to write about parenthood and about love, about all these things, and to see how difficult, if not impossible, it is to maintain this delicacy in the midst of our reality there.
When you mean your reality, you mean the reality of Israel today, or the reality of human beings in the modern world?
I think in a way it's both. Of course, in Israel the situation is more acute, more extreme. I mean, we are living in war for almost 100 years now, and it has its effect on every layer of our life, of our psyche, of the language we speak, of our human contact, not only with our enemies but also with our friends. Living in such a climate of war, it changes you. It makes you much more of a warrior in everything you do. I think it's even needless to elaborate on that. But I think that this book is, if I may say so, a very universal question, because it deals with the same involvement with human relationship, with the biggest drama of mankind, which is the family.
And coming back to the book, the structure of the book, David, it seems to me that you have written almost 2 books. The first part of the book, the first 100 pages, is more similar to a piece of theater. It's the piece in which the 3 characters, which are 3 of the 4 characters at the roots of the novel, are very young, and they meet each other in a very strange situation. And then another book starts, and it's the book in which Ora, the woman who is the leading character of the book, tells her story.
Yes.
Why did you choose this?
I cannot even say that I chose it. It seems to me the natural way. I wanted an entrance to the story that will be a little different than usual. It's written partly in a form of a radio play. Maybe because the other main protagonist, Avram, is very fond of radio plays. Maybe I myself, from the age of 9, I worked as an actor in Israel in the radio, as a radio play, until I was 40, I think. And I loved it. I loved the intimacy and the place of the imagination in the radio play. And most of this scene takes a place in almost pitch dark, because it's the 67 war in Israel. And as I remember very well as a child, we had to keep everything dark so the airplanes of Arab countries will not bombard us, as they did, by the way. And I thought that in the dark, the 3 youngsters are looking for each other, and in a way it is so much as what happens to youngsters even when they are in full light. They don't really see each other. They are looking very carefully and timidly and full of hesitations and inhibitions towards each other until they really are able to meet in a mature way. So this is the first part. And then suddenly we go into the light, and it's a blazing blue light of the Galilee, and then starts the journey when they are almost 35 years older than the first part. And gradually what happened to them in these 35 years is unfolded to the reader. For me, and for every writer, I think, writing about someone is one of the most deep ways to identify with other people, to try to understand them from within, to stop to resist to them and to surrender in a way that will allow them, the imaginary or the real characters you write about, to allow them to take over you. Now, usually we are not doing it happily. We are very careful of preserving ourselves. So often I feel that we define ourselves against someone. Yes, people say, I will never be like my parents. Or Israeli says, we are nothing like the Palestinians. Yes, and the more I grow up, I want to identify myself with other people, not against other people, because I feel it enhances me, it enriches me. I understand so much more about myself when I allow others to invade me and to be part of my life.